What's going on, Billy? You okay?
I'm good.
In today's episode, what I want to be doing is definitely going over our little experiment that we did last week after saying that we were going to postpone our subscription with Spotify and try and consume music in a more organic way as we used to years ago. And other than that, maybe just a couple records been listening to. And yeah, what about you, Bill?
Yeah, nice. No, same for me. I'm just gonna update on my thoughts and feelings from the first week of no streaming services experiment and how I'm gonna go forward with that as well.
Rambles and Records.
Right, so I think there's a lot to unpack with the last week. It's been less of a challenge than I thought. I've felt overall kind of less overwhelmed and almost relieved by having less choice. But with that came a lot
Yeah.
of frustration. And actually, overall, was it really an enjoyable experience at this point? I'd say no. Like quitting smoking. It was quite frustrating.
Yeah. I had the same feeling. It's kind of recognizing how much of a adjustment it's gonna take. Like I knew it was gonna happen. You don't know what it feels like until it happens.
Yeah.
And maybe a slightly minor confession. I don't know if it counts as cheating or not. But
Okay.
I did use Spotify after
For
the
it.
Wednesday. No,
Did
no,
you
no.
cancel? Because I
Because
remember you cancelled your
I
thing.
cancelled I cancelled the subscription. It gave me a playlist which made the lyrics of "If You Leave Me
Me
Now."
now. Chicago.
I'm not sure.
I don't even know. Yeah, you sent me
But
that.
then
That was funny.
I cancelled it. Had a few days left on the subscription, maybe like 2 days left on the subscription.
Okay.
Then the guy that I'm gonna be doing a little musical project with had sent me some song references. And I listened to them through the Spotify links he sent me. And then I was listening to related artists that I had previously saved in my own like list just to use at the end of the subscription, just as a kind of remind myself of some similar references I wanted to return.
Fair enough.
So that's my confession. But
Well,
since
thank you for confessing, my child.
it's week one, we had to be completely cold turkey. If we had a paid subscription which still had to expire, then why
We're
not
going to use
just
it.
use
We're
that?
frugal.
But I have found that the podcast app I mentioned last week, Pocket Cast, seems
Yeah.
pretty good so far. I've been happy with that as an alternative for listening to podcasts.
Podcasts. Cool.
So we need to sort that out.
Okay.
So that's also been a bit of a good lesson learned as well.
Yeah.
Recognizing how other people, just not assuming everyone's on Spotify and thinking, we could be reaching a wider audience. And probably a lot of people that have gone through similar thought processes might be on these other platforms
Absolutely.
to reach out.
So yeah, it's good, man. Been listening to a lot of radio as well. I know we said that radio was allowed, so I kind of took advantage of that. Live broadcast radio, yes. So I did digest a lot of NTS radio, but I did not go on their infinite mixtapes, even though I was very tempted because they are really good. I just got into their 2 radio stations, just flicking between them at work. And with that, I think it gave me a sense of natural music discovery, but it also made me realize that I didn't know the artists because the radio DJ comes back in between songs and say, oh, that was this by this, which is great. But even though it was the case where, yes, all right, I wasn't grasping 100% onto the background of the artist or where they were based, I did feel more in tune and connected with what I was listening to. So, yeah, I found a
I don't
similarity, but also it felt more organic at the same time, is what I'm saying.
I don't think that there's any inherent or major problem with listening to songs that you haven't heard. Every song that you heard, you had to have heard it for the first time. Every band that you listened to, there would have been a time where you didn't know who they are, and you only got to know about them through a friend or through a radio station or through a playlist. I think the major difference between like a heavily personalized playlist picking them for you every week makes you a bit lazy because you don't really stop to check the ones that stand out to you. You're just kind of so used to being spoon-fed good song after good song. Whereas when you're listening to a live broadcast radio station, which isn't designed just to cater for you, it's designed to cater for a whole community and a whole audience.
Yes.
So when you do pick up on those one or two songs that really stand out to you, you make more of an effort to like, what was
Yes.
that? I've got to find out who that was. And then you might go away and find more. So I think that there is a really healthy side to that.
That is, mate. Yeah. I think when you find a song that you like on the radio, you feel a part of something larger than yourself. It's like somebody has recommended something to you that you love based on their opinion, and then it makes you wonder, like, oh, I wonder how many other people are connecting with this exact same song right now.
I remember when I used to listen to a lot of Radio 6, they
Yeah.
used to have a feature where you could add songs to liked songs on the website. So I used to have it on, and then when a song used to catch my attention, I used to go onto the website, go onto the recently played to see what had been on, and be like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, and then save it to a list that they had on the website. I don't know if that's still there. On the weekends, when we were at someone's house or whatever, listening to music, I used to play all the songs I'd found for the week.
Wow. And that's kind of like the same as digging through 7 inches, isn't it? And just buying singles to then go to a party and show your friends or something like that. It's very similar.
Yeah.
And there's less of that. I'd find with streaming services, they don't have that sort of option where they want you to share as much, maybe.
To be fair, I think
demand for it has changed.
to be fair to Spotify, they have a pretty cool feature called Jam. So you
They do.
kind of sync on to the same thing and then add songs to a playlist and then it'll. So,
Yeah.
I don't think from that side of things, like I said from the beginning, the technology of it is very good, but it's almost that it's so good that it becomes bad because it makes you a bit lazy.
Too
What
much
we're
of a
trying
good
to
thing.
challenge, really.
This is it, and that's why we're trying to find the right balance. I think definitely found that this week it's being frustrating, very frustrating, yet rewarding. And it's been an experience that doesn't feel anywhere near finished. I feel
No.
like
Just the very typical.
yeah, definitely. I feel that more time has to be spent on this for us to feel the true benefit of it, more than willing to continue with that. I did spend the week missing the convenience, but I did also feel less guilt towards myself using streaming as a main method of consumption. I just felt this sense of almost pride in it. It's been a very interesting up and down sort of experience, and yeah, it's been good.
I definitely feel like this is really going to challenge me in a healthy way. I definitely still need to work a bit on what my flow is going to be or like what my new habit's going to be. For example, at one point on the weekend, I was like, oh yeah, I want to listen to Yusuf Day's album, Black Classical Music. I was
Yeah.
like, don't own it. That's fine. I'll go and buy it. Then
Yeah.
I was faced with the option of buying the digital album for one price or buying the vinyl, considering you get a physical thing.
Mhm.
And then I was there trying to make the decision between, oh, do I want to spend 30 quid or do I want to spend 15 quid? And then it's like,
Mhm.
I've been budgeting this month and trying to be a bit cautious of spending. I went through this whole thought process and then eventually I just went and listened to records I already owned.
So, let
Which
me decide this another time. I'm just gonna play what I have.
I still want to buy that record and I definitely want to listen to that record more. And I will get it at some point. But I think it was a really healthy thing that actually, rather than having everything on demand, and that it was good that I was turning to the music I owned, which is the whole point of the exercise.
And you were forced to make a choice.
Think about it. Think
What,
about
in
what I
that
really
position where
wanted.
you had to choose
Didn't just
not?
add
That's
that.
interesting.
And the other thing that I've really found the last couple of days as well is I'm really excited to go this weekend to the record store more than I've ever been. Like before, when
Yeah.
I bought records, it's just like a nice to have. It's like, well, I can listen to all of the music in the world, but I'm going to buy this thing because it's a bit nicer to own it than to listen to it on my phone. But
Yep.
now it's like, I want to listen to these records, but I look forward to the process of going to the record store for a couple of records. Now I've actually got a couple in mind. I'm not just going to see what I find. Like I actually like
Want to
have a
find
bit of
something?
a. So I'm going with intention, and I'm really
Absolutely.
excited for it.
I've had a similar feeling this week where I ran home and dug through some records to relieve the frustration from withdrawal of instant access I was used to. The idea of going to a record store is really exciting. I want to do
Yeah,
the same. Think, oh, I could get that. I could listen to it. I could bring it home. You're feeling all the feelings that we miss from having it in the palm of your hand already.
exactly. So no, that's been
Yeah.
a really positive thing of it already. It was never supposed to be easier than streaming, and it's not, but it
It's not.
is paying off, I think, in terms of the excitement factor of it and the anticipation and looking forward to doing some shopping and picking up some goods, just like eagerly trying to run home to listen to it.
So this isn't the end of it. It's much the opposite. We're just going to keep plodding on and see how far we can get with it.
Try for at least 3 months.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. It's a good way to do it. I've quit social media over the last month as well, so it's all come at a good time
Nice.
in terms of like short form content. And it's good to have that desire to want to seek out the stuff that's a bit harder to find. So I did
I've
that
been off
this week.
social media. My accounts are still active. I can still
Yeah,
access it through my web browser. I can maybe occasionally check messages once a week if I remember. But I deleted the apps from my phone, and I have
perfect.
felt amazing for it. It's
Yeah,
such a dream, like having it on your phone.
it
I
is. Yeah,
always feel
energy
better when I don't have
levels.
it.
Yeah, energy levels go down. But it was the screen time that bothered me, and probably was the catalyst for me. You save time as well.
Save time, you feel better, and you probably become smarter as well.
What you been listening to then, Billy? You been listening to anything cool this week?
So this brings me to one of the downsides of the experiment so far. One thing that I was conscious of, that I was worried about, I might end up listening to less music, at least at the beginning.
I agree with that. One thing I forgot to mention is I was consuming a lot more audiobooks this week and just
Hmm.
podcasts, and yeah, I'm with it.
I did get the new audiobook of Yuval Noah Harari. He released the book Nexus at the end of last year. Just started that. That is pretty cool. I know it's not music, but I
Yeah,
always enjoy his book, so just gonna shout that out.
yeah.
On the weekend, I was listening to Goat, the Swedish psych rock band.
Oh, yeah, I know them. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have any songs off my head, but I've got them in a few playlists that
nice.
I'm not going to listen to.
Record from Solo Records last year.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm still using that solo tote bag you got me for work. It's going to
Oh,
be tight.
nice.
I've dumped
That's
everything into it.
sign of a good bag.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man.
Just to mention as well what I want to look for this weekend. I've started a lot of drummers referencing Elvin Jones as an influence. So
Mm-hmm.
he was a jazz drummer. He famously played with John Coltrane on a few of his early records and a lot of big names.
Right.
That seems to be one of the more notable collaborations. So I want to try and pick up any album featuring him, basically. And I know
Okay.
that the record stores around here do the older jazz records, so I think I've got a good chance of that.
Awesome.
Since I'm going to be playing the drums again,
You
it's
said
like,
going to be leaning more into a jazz sort of style of playing. And I remember you mentioning some drummers before that were of that sort of ilk.
to satisfy the drum oriented side, I'm going to be looking for that. After the announcement this afternoon, I have to pick up some more Black Sabbath records.
Oh, mate. I've been thinking about it all day. Well, when this comes out, it's already going to be old news, but we found out today the announcement of Black Sabbath's final show, supposedly,
What? Yes,
like the
they've
10th
been.
final show.
What an insane bill! Believe it was real when I
I
saw
was
it.
saying, I thought it was like, is it April Fool's?
Dream
Yeah.
gig.
Well, like you said, it's
I
like a
was like,
dream
there's
gig
no
for
way that's
metalheads.
real. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see lineups like this in, say, like Las Vegas? I've noticed a lot of big bands like this, metal bands as well, sometimes grouped together in places like Vegas. is going to be happening in Aston,
I know,
Birmingham.
crazy.
It's quite a big deal to have
It's not
this many bands.
comparable to Las Vegas.
It's not exactly comparable to Las Vegas. You know, Birmingham in general isn't exactly comparable to Las Vegas, but
More like Las Vegas in Fallout spin-off.
New Vegas.
But yeah,
That's all that's to it. Yeah, the final show, even though they did the end and the end two and all that sort of stuff. Now this is apparently
did
the
it
final
do an end
show.
too? No. Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Aussie, like
No more
farewell shows.
tours.
That was Aussie. The
Yeah.
end, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah, I went
Years
to
ago,
that one
2002.
actually.
Did
I
you?
went to Hyde Park, but I don't remember much because I
Oh,
was.
you didn't go to the Birmingham one?
I went to Hyde Park.
Were you about to tell me that you were drunk?
Yeah, but if I go to this one, I'm going to be really drunk at this one as well. Hopefully less so.
I got offered a ticket to the Birmingham and I turned it down
God.
because I had a uni assignment due the
Oh my
following
God.
day or something, and I was trying to get it done.
Jesus. Well,
And
you've got a chance to put that right, mate, because Saturday the 5th of July at Villa Park in Birmingham, it's going to be Black Sabbath's last show, and supposedly from the names on top, it is the original lineup. So it's Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, Ozzy Osbourne, Bill Ward, most notably.
play at the end. So that's one of the big, what was I going to say? The resolutions. Because Ozzy had said after the end that it was like a shame that Bill had never played that and had wanted to kind of amend that.
Yeah.
So I've known
That's cool.
this has been on the cards for a while.
Finally to do it. It's going to be performances from Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Gojira, Hailstorm, Alice in Chains, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon. But also additional performances from Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. You got Fred Durst, Jonathan Davis from Korn, Sammy Hagar, Slash, Sleep Token, Tom Morello, and Wolfgang Van Halen.
Tom Morello is like the musical director of the event or something.
Oh wow!
I was
Well,
reading an
conductor.
article. It
He's
was
just
like
gonna be at the front.
Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, the musical director of the event, says this is gonna be like a historical event or something.
Just like a classical conductor, but him just also got his guitar jack, messing up with his guitar jack, and then just swinging it about, and then just flipping off the crowd, and then just leaving.
It
No,
probably has
at
more.
all.
Maybe he was like helping to pick the bill or to kind of
Oh right, okay, fair enough. And he put himself on the bill, obviously.
as to what that additional performances means, because I don't think it means that they're all going to do a solo set. I'm wondering if they're all going to come on and do like appearances on songs or something.
What if it's like a Band-Aid sort of thing where they do Paranoid, but it's all of them together?
That would make
Or-
sense. We're going to do some composition of covers
I
with
was
like
thinking that. How are they going to fit everyone in? I thought it was just going to be like one song from Billy Corgan. He comes in, does Cherub Rock really quick. Then you got Fred Durst. He comes in, does break stuff really quick.
Who wants to see singers without their bands doing
Just one of those
a cappella versions
right?
of
Yeah, it's just like tiny snippets.
Yeah, it'd be more
That
like
makes more
the
sense.
Olympic opening ceremony, kind of get
Yeah.
flown in from helicopters.
That'd be pretty sick.
Bungee jumps out of the helicopter.
I think that makes way more sense because I'm a bit disappointed now because I thought I'd see really solo performances, but it's got to be. Hopefully we see, I mean, Alice in Chains is the big one for me.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
And Pantera and Rex, to be fair, Black Sabbath, Metallica I've never seen live, and all the profits will be donated equally to Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, which is amazing, Acorns Children's Hospice, and Children's Hospice supported by Aston Villa. So that is cool, man. And that is probably another reason why everybody has been so on board to show up to something like this.
Yeah.
I just think it's nicer to know that it's not like a cash grab. It's done for the right reasons. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah, of
looking forward
course.
to it. We've got shit for tickets, but it's going to be like a fucking Oasis sort of situation again, except the metalhead version. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing tickets go for like 100 quid or something like that.
The thing is, as
Probably
well, with
plus.
the Oasis tickets, it was one huge band.
This
Huge
is
band.
loads.
Like, most of the bands
in
on the
one
bill could
place
sell out
as well.
like a
It's
huge
not like
arenas,
they're doing a tour,
and it's
you know.
not the biggest venue either.
Right. The security needs to be really high up on this. It's gonna be
Well,
crazy.
hard to break into a football stadium.
I hope they don't sell too many tickets. I hope that it's organised in our way. I'm sure it will. But I think even if you're not from Birmingham,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
case where it's kind of like if you live the other end of the world and your favourite band is Black Sabbath, you would be willing to travel
yeah,
all the way
absolutely.
to see the last gig. The demand for that is going to
Yeah.
be insane. And the fact it's on my doorstep practically is annoying if I can't get a ticket.
I'm very skeptical about how easy it's going to be to get a ticket. So many people are going to want to go to this. It's probably going to be almost sold out before the pre-sale even goes on, just from like the industry insiders and friends of the industry guys, and everyone wanting to get hands on. Like there's very limited kind of seats. By the time you get the pre-sale, it's probably already going to be half sold out. Then the website's going to crash. You'll have like milliseconds to get through a broken website.
And be sold
Then
out. Yeah.
on the sale day, it's crazy, but gotta try.
Gotta try. And if we can get into that, oh my God, that will make my year. So yeah, off the back of that, I have a few recommends. One that's very familiar, one that I thought was relevant that I wanted to just bring up again. And it is, of course, Alice in Chains
Hey,
Dirt. Listen to it again. Ran
nice.
home the other day. Oddly enough, I did play this before I found out about this today. So I seen that and I was like, cool, amazing, great album. If
Yes,
you'd
sir.
like to see more about that, you can check out our deep dive episode where we step into that album a little bit more. It's very early on in the process as well, so don't expect much, but enjoy it.
It holds up.
It holds up. It's great.
It's solid.
Another one is James Brown, Hot Pants.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It also contains the original hit single, Hot Pants. Funny enough.
Amazing for me in hot pants.
You know it, mate. Look at that.
Oh, I can't see.
Or is that
Ah, yeah, I got
is
it.
that him though? I don't know if it's him. It could be a her. It could be someone. I don't know if that's James
Somebody in
Brown's
hot
ass.
pants.
It's somebody in hot pants. That much is
I
true.
heard so.
So the tracks on it are all quite long. Side one, you've got 2 tracks. First one is 9 minutes 40 and it's called Blues and Pants.
Oh well.
Then you got Can't Stand It. And then side 2 is Escapism Part 1 and 2, which is a bit weird. It's like, what are you escaping from? The hot pants?
Just
Hot
like
pants.
gotta get him off.
And they go, shit, gotta get him off. And
2
then
parts.
in 2 parts, gotta rip him into 2 parts. And then the last track is, of course, Hot Pants. In brackets for Hot Pants, she got to use what she got to get what she wants.
Yeah.
You know, and she got to use what she got to get what she wants. Cheers. It's on Polydor. Good album. Very funky. Very cool. Samande have brought out a new album called
Yeah.
Renaissance. It's pretty
Nice.
cool. Worth checking out. The ones that had the horns on it was more positive and kind of like get up and summery and just kind of good energy, like Afrobeat sort of funk sort of stuff. That was cool. But there was some sort of more emotional, meaningful, deeper rooted songs in there as well, which, to be honest, I didn't connect with as much because I didn't want that from it at the time. But you might well connect it with it if that's what you're into. The last one, which was really not my usual cup of tea at all, but I got it recommended to me because I said that I like concept albums, is the Beyonce album Lemonade.
I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I'm into. Didn't connect with it much on a music level, but I really appreciated the story and concept behind it. There's a movie that goes with it, and every song has a certain part of the story. It's got a lot of deep meanings about feminism, Black Lives Matter, and relationship-related stuff because it came out in 2016. She had a lot of problems with Jay-Z, apparently he cheated on her or something like that.
The gossip.
She was coming in hot. It was off the back of that, and she's a bit angry. It's listed as one Apple, that list that Apple did, like top 100 albums of all time that they
No.
did last year. Do you remember?
So-
I feel like a fucking loser.
Did you tell me about it?
I'm there going, have you heard the Beyonce album, Lemonade? It got number 4 in the best albums of all time, Apple's best song albums all time. I'm going to delete all of this. This is quite sexy.
Nah, you gotta give it. Just never really.
Vibe.
I've just never really understood greatest album lists. Like, well, I don't really care about this album, so I'm gonna go and listen to.
What does that mean? I don't like the number 2 album. Does that mean it's any less, any more? Is it that
like this is just one person's opinion? That's cool,
I totally
man.
get it. It was really high up. The number 1 on that list was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is a good album, but number 1 of all time. But then
it's a bit surprising.
Because of XYZ. And that's fine.
I can imagine it is plenty of people's favorite album of all time, and that
it's a good album.
It's fine, but for it to be on like a platform like Apple, I don't know, that it's the best. It should be the universal best album of all time. It does seem a bit random.
On that note,
and that's why I don't really pay attention to these.
Me neither. We don't care, and that's why whoever brought that up initially needs to have a hard look at themselves. To be honest.
To be fair,
and we're going to find out who that is in the next episode.
Anyway, I get it. I just never cared for it myself. That's all.
If you like Beyonce, listen to Lemonade. If you don't like Beyonce, don't listen to Lemonade. If you like Beyonce, you've probably already heard Lemonade because it came out in 2016. If you don't like me talking about Beyonce, I'll stop right now. I'll leave it there. So yeah, that's been my week of listening. James Brown, Samande, Alice in Chains, and Beyonce.
Nice. I forgot I can add a couple of digital listens as well. So,
go on then.
Do you know the drummer Nate Smith? He's very popular in the funk jazz world. Proficient drummer. He's amazing. Check him out if you get the chance. He often collaborates with Wolfpack and stuff. He has some albums. The one album I was already familiar with came out in 2017 called Kinfolk, Cars From Everywhere. And that's a more kind of full band setup. It's like a jazz record. One that I heard, which was new to me, was an album that came out the following year called Pocket Change. The much more drum composed album.
I always love
him just exposed on the drum kit. The cover is him standing there with drumsticks and the drums kind of radiating from his head.
That is pretty clear then what it is.
I'm not sure what it is, but
drumstick.
And now that I think about it, it's reminding me I should go back and listen to Ty Segall's Love or something.
Yes, it was because playing drums was his first love. Yeah, man. When you said that initially, that sparked into my head. And I remember really enjoying that album. So, yes. Thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah. Definitely check out Pocket Change as well by Nate Smith. Yep. This also relates to an announcement that came out this week after I was listening to this. You remember the festival I went to in Agrigento?
Yeah.
Nate Smith and the Fearless Flyers will be playing the headline in the festival this year.
Yeah.
When we spoke to the organizer the festival last year, he told us that he had an announcement he was really excited to share, but obviously couldn't tell us what it was. I reckon it was these guys because it's a huge booking and it's their Italian debut. And if I will go or not, I would love to. It depends because I'm still trying to work out what's going on with my summer.
Only so much
money and leave
work. Fair enough.
I have to pick carefully. Is that jazz festival in Piedmont? We still need to organise for you to come as well.
No, man. We need to speak a bit more about this. We'll sort it, man. It's gonna happen.
Me and a friend are considering as well is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They're doing a tour this year. They're doing a bunch of residencies around Europe.
Wow.
And it's not all of the most obvious places. There are some obvious places, but they're doing Manchester in the UK. They're doing some dates in Portugal.
Yeah.
And then it's like Athens, Bulgaria.
Wow.
Like Lithuania. Anyone listening can check it. But you might normally expect, it'd be like Berlin, Paris, Milan, but they haven't gone for all of those main cities.
Good.
And each country they're playing in, they're doing a 3-night residency in the same venue.
Right. Okay. That's cool, man.
them for a long time, and I haven't stayed on top of their albums either. Obviously, they're very prolific. They're constantly putting albums out. They've probably released 10 since I last. But I saw them a load of times, probably in the 2014 to 17 period, and they're always incredible. So I'm sure it doesn't really matter whether or not you've listened to them recently. They'll always put on a good show.
I agree with that, absolutely. They definitely do give off a really good energy live. So even if you know, not a massive fan, but happen to live in Lithuania where they're playing, go check them out because they're cool.
I hope it's Lithuania. They're probably
I know,
not,
yeah.
but-
If it's not that, sorry if you are a massive fan and you're from Lithuania.
You're listening to this and I've just disappointed you.
Okay, so I guess that about wraps it up for this week. We'll be back next week for more ramblings. Until then, follow us on socials or don't. See you next week.
See you.